So lesson 2 is on rates. So we're continuing from rate of change, and we're going to look at ratios today. So here's some statistics. A survey prompted by this survey. There was a survey done, and conducted a survey of 2,943 Canadians aged 18 to 34 on their web, mobile, and social network habits. They found that this group sent on an average 23 text messages per day. So because of that, Rachel and Sarah thought, okay, well, let's record our text messages on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on the same day and see how they compare. Looking at question A, a comparison of one number to another with the same unit is called a ratio. And so that's a definition you need to know. So I'm just going to highlight that. Comparison of one number to another of the same unit is called a ratio. Comparing the number of texts Rachel sent on Friday, so Rachel on Friday, to Sarah on Friday. So we can write it in two ways, A to B, and we say the colon, it's A to B or A over B. So Sarah would be the A, or Rachel would be the A because it's the first one, and our second one is we're comparing it to Sarah, so Sarah is B. So, and all fractions we want to have as in reduced form. So Rachel on Friday was 81, so that's our A, to Friday, Sarah, 54. And now, if we want to reduce our fraction, the easiest way is with our calculators. So another way you can think it is you can start by going, well, 9 will go into 81 and 54, so we'll divide both by 9. Otherwise, we can just use our calculator. So 81 divided by 54, math, enter, enter, and that's 3 to 2. So 3 to 2 ratio. So we can write them as 3 to 2 or 3 over 2. So for every 3 Rachel sent, Sarah would send 2. Write a ratio reduced form comparing the number of texts Sarah sent on Friday. So Sarah is now our A. Sarah sent on Friday to the number of texts Rachel sent on Friday. So she's now our B. So this is the same numbers, so we don't need to go and reduce them again. So instead of 3 to 2, it's 2 to 3 or 2 over 3. Because now Sarah's A, Rachel is B. Comparing the ratio found in A to the one found in B. What's the difference between the two ratios? Explain. All they are is the reciprocal of one another. Reciprocals. Remember, reciprocals like reflipicals, right? It's flipped. Reciprocal of each other. They're reciprocals of each other. The comparison of quantities which cannot be expressed in the same unit is called a rate. So if they're not the same unit, that's a rate. So an example of a rate, I'm just going to highlight this, because that's an important one. Comparison of quantities which cannot be expressed in the same unit is a rate. So kilometers per hour, right? Meters per second, how many phone calls per person, right? Those are all rates because they don't have the same unit. So Rachel sent texts at a rate of 165 days, texts in 3 days. So those aren't the same unit. Days and texts aren't the same unit. Express the total number of texts Sarah sent over the 3 days as a rate. So we just need the sum of them. So Sarah had 23, 40, and 54 total added together. So 23 plus 40 plus 54. Okay, so 23 plus 40 is 63. 63 plus 54 is 117 texts. So as a rate, we could say that Sarah sent 117 texts in 3 days, or per 3 days. In 3 days. A unit rate is a rate expressed with a denominator of 1. So another very important definition. So the rate that we just expressed above is not a unit rate because it's per 3 days. So if we want it per day, that would be the unit rate. I probably didn't need to highlight that part right here. Let's take away that. There we go. Okay, so express it as a unit rate for Sarah. So we had 117 texts over 3 days. So we're just going to divide that. So just to find our unit rate, all we have to do is divide them. 117 divided by 3 is 39. So on average, Sarah sent 39 texts per day, and that would be the unit rate because the denominator is 1. Sarah continues to text at the same rate as in D. How many texts does she send in 1 month over 30 days? So if she's averaging 39 texts per day, so we can use our method we learned last day. Texts per day. Oops. 39 texts, not 39 days. So 39 texts for every 1 day times, we have 30 days. Notice days cancel out. And we'll get the number of texts. So 39 times 30. 30 times 30 is 900. And then 3 times 9 will be 2,700. So 1170, I think. Let's check. 1170. So it equals 1,170 texts she can expect over the course of the month. Okay, so here are some definitions you need to know. So something you can put when you're studying, you want to look at this. So it's just what we went through. What's a ratio, what's a unit rate, and what's a rate? So we'll move on because we already talked about them. Just to review, a rate is comparing quantities with different units. The unit rate would be a denominator of 1, and a ratio is when we're comparing any of the same object, then it's a ratio if it's the same objects. Okay, so Kim and Cole were given the following problem to solve. Tommy purchased 3 bottles of vitamin water for $4.95. After paying, he receives a text message from his wife informing him that some more of his friends are coming to visit. He goes back into the store to purchase 4 more bottles. What was the total amount he paid for the 7 bottles of vitamin water? Now, you can use any method to solve this. Down below, you can see that they're using the proportional reasoning. We could also use a unit analysis, so it's really what you're more comfortable with. Kim solved, so this is Kim's work. You could see she used proportional reasoning, right? One fraction equal to another. Cole solved the problem at figuring out the unit rate and then times it by the number of bottles. So let's complete their work. So remember with proportional reasoning, if we have $4.95 per 3 bottles, so we're looking for X dollars and we have 7 bottles, and we cross multiply. And so I'm just going to add a step over here. So you have 7 bottles times $4.95 equals 3x, and then we have to divide both sides by the 3 just to get x by itself. So the 7 should go in the brackets. So let's type that in our calculators. 495 times 7, and then we're going to divide that by 3. So 1155 should be the price for all 7 bottles. Okay, so now let's find the unit rate. So if we know he spent $4.95 for 3 bottles, then let's find out how much 1 bottle cost. So $4.95 divided by 3, we get $1.65. So that means it's $1.65 per bottle. And if you bought 7 of them, we can just say, okay, what's 7 bottles times $1.65 each? Grab the calculator. Close that. There we go. Sorry again. Grab the calculator. 7 times $1.65 should give us the same answer, $11.55. Now you could have also used unit analysis. 7 bottles, just a little side note, times, so we want bottles to cancel out. We're looking for the dollars, and there was $4.95 for 3 bottles, and that would also give you $11.55. So all three methods would work. Okay. So we're almost done. We're just going to go through one more example. And example 3, we're just going to skip. So looking at example 2. Now, just a note. On the top of your formula sheet, can you please write 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds? I will give you that information. You do not need to memorize it. So if it comes up on a question, you will be given that. Paul hosted an annual wrap-up party for his hockey team last year. This year he hosted the party again, and like last year, he'll be serving prime rib roast. Last year he bought 8 kilograms of prime rib for $173.12, and this year he bought the roast for $10.13 per pound. Use unit analysis in your work to determine which rib roast was more expensive. So we want to compare the two. Now, one of them's in price per kilograms, and one's a price per pound. So let's work with kilograms. Now, last year, if we leave it as 173.12 for 8 kilograms, that's not going to really help us out. 173 for 8 kilograms. If it was a unit rate, then we'd have a better idea of the price per kilogram, which then we can maybe convert the other guy and we can compare them. So let's find out his unit rate. So right now this is a rate, but not a unit rate, because it's the denominator is not 1. 173.12 over 8 gives us $21.64 per kilogram. So that's last year. $21.64 per kilogram. This year, he went out and bought his roast for $10.13 for every pound, for 1 pound. Now we want price per kilogram, so we're going to use unit analysis. We want to change that to kilograms. Notice how pounds are on the bottom, so in order for it to cancel, we're going to put the pound on the top. And we're looking for, we actually want kilograms in the bottom because we want dollars per kilogram. So now we fill in our ratio. Well, what's our ratio? Well, it's above, it's given. 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And so here we go. Our pounds are going to cancel. Let's type this into our calculator. 1013 times 2.2. Yay, 22. Let's round it out. 29. 22, 29. And so this year, it's costing $22.29 per kilogram. So which year is better? Unfortunately, the price of meat went up. Last year, well, they're asking which was more expensive instead of which is cheaper. So this year is more expensive. Okay, the last question we're going to skip. And so that just leads us to our homework of 1 to 10. And so that's the end of this lesson. Pretty short.